Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 11 of the Galaxy Podcast. Today we are joined with Icy. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing, sir?
I am living the good life, like I always say. Living like Larry. I mean, there's more other things you can really say, but uh, chugging away on the podcast. That's all. Streaming, doing the podcast, working with Galaxy Gaming. That's the best I can do at this point.
Nice.
So, where you been up to lately? Anything super big for you?
Not really. I mean, I've got a couple more events up. Like I said, last event I did was DreamHack Atlanta, and then of course that wasn't until the beginning of October. But I have a couple events coming up in Kansas City. It's called Fragadelphia, so we actually have titles from Counter Strike 2, League of Legends. We're doing Deadlock, Rocket League, and some FGC titles. Then immediately after that, I have to go to Midland, Texas for a Smash event. So hustling, hustling, and hustling.
I can understand that. I mean, so you kind of like lead and like build the tournaments, don't you?
Yeah, so I freelance, so I'm like a project lead for multiple companies, from mom and pop up to big names. Like I said, DreamHack. I used to work with UGC, used to work with MLG. So just whoever needs me, yeah, just take me into an empty area. I look what it is. I figure out, all right, tables go here, power, electric, build everything up, and then from there, of course, run the tournaments, babysit nerds as I call it, have fun and break it down. Go to the next.
That sounds like a blast. I bet you meet a lot of cool people on the way too. And
Oh yeah. I've met anything from like guys like you and me to gamers, and then I've met like celebrities. I've met Zotan from Five Finger Death Punch. I've met a couple different actors because just like anybody else, they're gamers just like you and I. We
oh
like
yeah,
to have fun.
a lot of a lot of people you don't understand like you can have just regular people, but then they can be gamers. Like heck, Logan Paul, for example, he's a Pokemon fan. He
Yeah.
out of just nowhere, he's just a Pokemon fan. He's buying the most rarest Pokemon card of all time. So it's just like the most random people you don't expect. They're a fan of something, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
uh, it's really a widespread of people too.
Well, it's like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg loves Call of Duty and stuff. I mean, so like I said, just because they're a different area than what we are in, they're still unified in the same aspect.
Oh yeah, and I bet just I don't go to a lot of lands. I'm not as competitive as I once was, but just the atmosphere in general, they are really nice, and I bet, and just being there in general, making the money, uh, experiencing it, having the kids see what experience they can get, seeing everybody have fun. I just bet that's so much fun for you.
Oh, it is. I mean, that's always my main goal is, not everybody wins, and unfortunately, a lot of people they might get what we call first rounded. But
Oh yeah,
the fact of them coming to have fun and like I said, I've made so many friends along the way, and then gamers that have told me, oh, I wish the tournament that I was in last week was like yours because I'm the type of TO where, all right, if a computer goes down, all right, hey, we're gonna pause it, we're gonna figure out what we can fix because I don't want a team to lose because of XYZ. And so what we do, let's just say it's Call of Duty, it's Hardpoint or Search and Destroy. We keep the times where they're at, and then we'll restart the lobby. But all you have to do is, let's just say if you're at 150, all right, you need an extra 100 points. That's it. And so I want to make sure it is a fair, because as good as I do, technical difficulties happen from controllers, mice, keyboard, whatever. And I don't want that experience of someone's gear being faulty ruin their future experience in another tournament somewhere.
I can I can understand that because if someone has a bad experience on their first LAN, that could really, and that goes for almost anything. If you have a bad
Yep.
experience for your first time, that can affect it all the time.
Oh, big time. I mean, it goes anywhere from gaming to work environments, dating, you name it. If one bad experience, you're like, I don't want that crap anymore.
I see it all the time. I powerlift, and every year, January 1st, and January is the most packed time in the gym. Here comes
Yep.
everybody, and uh, everybody always likes to max out in January to show off and what everybody can do for all the newcomers. And then I'm like, you're just scaring them all away. I said, you should
Right.
accept them. They're trying to better themselves.
Oh,
And
exactly. But no, everybody's like, let's push you to the limit. Like, bro, I got to get this rust off me. I ain't done this crap in years.
oh yeah, I'm just like, I powerlift fairly often. And I just max out when I feel like it, or I plan a time to max out, or I got competitions to go to. But
Right.
when you want to do it like in January just to scare everybody off, there's just no point.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Speaking of that's kind of funny. Like you said, I used to compete myself. I retired in 2015, but whenever I would compete in some of our local lands here, the hosts they knew usually I was the guy that beat the crap out of everybody. But I would try to make everybody have fun and not do it. But he'd be like, "Hey, why are you sandbagging?" I'm like, "Because I want them to have fun." He's like, "You're gonna win." I was like, "Don't ruin my fun. Just let me have fun with my toys right now,
Yeah.
okay?" But same thing, yeah, because you're gonna, like I said, scare people off. If you're like, yeah, if you beat someone 50-0, they're not gonna come back to your tournament. But if you keep it close, like, oh, okay, I'll just get better next time. You know?
Yeah, they're gonna want to come back, but then you just blow somebody out of the water. Then they're almost just not gonna come back in the first
Yep.
place. But like
Oh yeah.
in close, you keep it, and especially if it's like a real good game and you come back and it's underdogs, and uh, that's really nice. But
Oh, it is, and like I said, that's the thing is those close moments or those memories that you create by whether you're doing that or something that, like I said, it always brings people back because they want, oh, I can do it next time better, just and then you have fun, you get to engage, and then from there you get to introduce them to other things, and they're like, oh, I didn't know this existed.
oh yeah, and then people can really see other people's experiences too, because a lot of people might not see it as often. Just sitting down and watching VOD, you're there in person. You're more focused on what's happening. You're going to see. You're not distracted by anything else. You're there in person. You're going to see other tactics. You're going to learn new things from other players. You're going to talk to other players.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, big time.
that's always a big thing. Just hearing other people's experiences too.
Oh yeah, well, like here in Oklahoma, my company and I actually operate the high school and middle school scene. It's called OESO, which is Oklahoma Esports Scholastic League. But basically, we have about 124 high schools and middle schools involved, with about probably 4K students. And same thing as like with my background, I'll go with the coaches. I'm like, hey, your guys should probably try this, or I'll even talk with the students because I'll see them either upset or what should we do against this team? They're good. I'm like, look, I've watched them. Here's my strategy of what I would do, and I try to implement. I try coaching just to help out because even the littlest, hey, try this out. And it's like that actually works. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I I can understand that. Now diving back into, you used to compete. What did you used to compete in?
This little guy right here, I used to competed on the Halo circuits from '02 to 15. So everything from Halo 1 all the way up to Halo 5. Halo 5, when it released in Daytona, was my last event just because. I'm 39 now. I was 30 then, but I also had to end up getting a back surgery from an accident I was in. And so trying to like sit here for, 8 hours competing, after a while, I can't get comfortable. So I start wiggling. So I didn't want my demeanor and my handicapness hurt my team. And so after that, that's whenever I retired and would coach or would be behind the scenes like I am now with like all these big companies pretty much setting everything up so they can have fun.
Yeah, and that's just the dream job right there. You go from competing, and then it's just like in football, you go from playing and then you go to coaching. I mean, now you're going from the actual scene to actually helping out the future of up and coming, and I love to help out with a lot of that stuff, and that's one of my big things is really getting into leagues and stuff. Yes, I don't have a lot of time with that, but I used to own an org. I used to own a league. Was going to host a LAN, never got to it, but
It
uh,
happens.
I've seen a lot of people do great things. I mean, helped out with other projects like Dangerous. He's hosting a league now.
Nice.
Mr. Nice Guy. He held 3 leagues at once, 3 leagues and an org all at one time, and I was like, that is insane. He had like a
Oh yeah.
small, medium, and big league, and then he had his own org to run, and he was just packed. And I actually did a podcast with him and dove a little bit more into it. And he said he was the main guy running everything. And he said he'd wake up and he just eat, sleep, breathe, all of that.
Oh, big time. Like I said, I'll have, like I said, I'll have messages from people like you that reach out to me. I'll have a message at 3 a.m. like, hey, bro, you thought about this tournament? Can you come here? Like, I remember it was 2019, or no, it was 2019, 2018, let's see, either way. UGC and Red Bull, they were doing a Rise Till Dawn out there. And 2 days before the event, they messaged me, were like, hey, we know it's short notice. Can you make it up here to Chicago? We need someone that knows their shit. I'm like, yeah, sure. And so 2 days later, what sucks is I woke up that morning with the flu.
Oh,
And so they started,
shit.
and Chicago is 13 hours. So I'm in my big ass, I drive a Raptor. I'm in my truck and I turn the heating seats on. And mind you, it's 105 outside. So I'm already dying alive as it is, just trying to burn this fever and crap out of me.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
it out of me, but by the time I landed there, I was so dead ass tired. But yeah, that's the one thing that I like is knowing people count on you, for whatever reason, whether it's just a small talk or, hey, can you be here 8 hours from now? I'm like, sure. But yeah, there'll be times where I'll wake up and, like I said, I'll have someone say, hey, I got a flight booked for you. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll see you in a couple hours.
Guess I'll be there.
Yeah, but like, yeah, and so like here back home too, like I work with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I work with the police, I work with the military, work with colleges, and so like you said, being hectic, whenever the Oklahoma City Thunder wanted to do their first esports event with Oklahoma City University, I remember going out there and I was the only TO and I had 7 titles to myself, and we had about 1,500 people, so we had everything from Call of Duty, Smash, Tekken, Rocket League. NBA 2K, just a bunch of stuff. And so you just see it's pretty much think of a shoehorn. I just kept going back and forth, back and
Oh
forth.
yeah.
I had over 42,000 steps that day.
Gee
Running around.
whiz.
I was beat to shit, but it was a fun time, And actually, it was with the Thunder, and they wanted more. And so actually, I think this is their 5th or 6th year because we had to kind of stop during COVID a little bit, but it's been a blast. And so that's my thing. As exhausted as I might be after a show, it's fun because people got to enjoy something they may never have got to see.
Oh yeah. Speaking on the steps part, that's just a lot just in one room because when I was in 8th grade in DC, I had to the bus broke down while we were in DC, so we had to walk everywhere on one day, and I walked over 40,000 steps, and it was like 100 degrees out, and I was like, this sucks. And
Oh, it does.
you go into an air conditioned space. Like I remember we went to the official USA like space museum in Washington D.C. Not one person looked at anything. We all sat down and just enjoyed ourselves because it was air
Oh, yeah.
conditioned. It was horrible.
And that's the thing too. As soon as you stop, that's when all the sweat goes
Oh yeah.
like a waterfall on you. So when we were at DreamHack, normally after hours things shut down. Well, there was a Counter Strike tournament that was running probably about, I think it was about an hour later than what time normally shuts down. Well, usually the forklifts will come out there, they'll start bringing people their pallets because we got to break down. But you can't do heavy machinery when the stage is still going. So my guys, hey, I'm the pallet jack guy. I went and got my stuff. By the time I had gone back and forth getting all of our stuff, I was at 33,000 steps. I finally sat down because my boss said, sit your ass down and take a breather. I'm like, all right. As soon as I sit down, my orange shirt turned into this color everywhere. I was just drenched in sweat.
Yeah, that can be
But
pretty bad. But
yeah.
from a LAN perspective, I wasn't really like that big in the like I was just getting into competitive during COVID. How did that affect LANs during that year?
Oh, it took a big ass shit. I think the last land that had happened whenever COVID was coming around was probably DreamHack at Anaheim because that was around February 2020. I remember coming back from that and like I got sick. I was like, all right, it's land exhaustion. You're tired.
Mm-hmm.
But the symptoms hit me like it was the flu, but extreme. And that was before anybody knew what COVID was. I'm like, man, this is weird. And I had like a dry cough for 2 to 3 months later. But after the world shut down, I actually ended up getting with a company called Game Gym and pivoting and helping them actually create their
Mm-hmm.
online series. So we had a big online series from people like you and I, because we want a game all the way up to colleges and stuff like that. And so because of that, it was able to get more people involved. And I think thankfully because of COVID, even though all the bad stuff that did happen with it, it actually I think opened up the eyes for people that love gaming, realizing, hey, I can do both LAN and online, and it's a great atmosphere. And it brought more people together, more people to game because we couldn't leave the house. I mean, we could, but there wasn't nothing to do. you know?
Oh yeah, it's like I really started getting the competitive because of COVID. I mean, like I was out of school. This was like it was the end of my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, and all it was COD 2019. Verdansk was out. It was literally the greatest time for COVID, and then Fortnite was popping at that moment,
Right.
and that's really when I got into competitive, and that's when my buddy Lego, he reached out to me, and we started our org Divert, which didn't go well. I was super young, and
Happens.
and then I started. That actually is when I got into competitive, and then kind of took like a year break. We ran that in 2020, and then we kind of hopped out of that, and then we went to. He actually reached back out to me. He said, "I want to try this one more time." So we started up our own org in 2021 called Frosted Vipers, and we ran that for a few years. Well, he dropped out. I ended up running it for a few years. He dropped out after 2 or 3 months, I think so, and I ended up running it for 2 years. We put down a lot of OLTs. We're
Mhm.
just about to go to lands, and then uh, our main team that we were about to send to a land dropped. And then all my other teams started to drop, and I was just like, yeah, this is it for me. Uh,
Yeah, no, I feel you. I've seen a lot of those, like selling team pass, team fell apart, whatever. Which it happens, unfortunately. But at the same time, it's like, look, you guys grinded just because little Timmy and you got in an argument over some shit, or all right, you guys played some scrims, and like I said, he wasn't doing very good. Doesn't mean he's not going to do good in LAN, because you know as good as I do, there's a big difference between online tournaments and LAN tournaments. Online, it's all usually host-based internet. LAN, it's all neutral, and so if you barely lost on, hi mom, I'm in a podcast. That's my mom. She decided to stop by. I've been over here remodeling her house and whatnot.
okay.
But yeah, yeah. But from there, like I said, I've seen teams do that. They'll get in an argument, or someone might slack, like, oh no, we need to pick someone up. Like, bro, just give them a shot. LAN is 10 times different than online is, and I've seen people become true beasts, or I've seen people realize you're an online warrior, and that LAN just kicked your ass. You know.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of teams. Like if you play just a regular team online, it's going to be a whole different ball game when you go to LAN. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the anxiety is going to be up. I mean, the pressure's on more. There's just a lot more to it when you're at a LAN, and then because when you're online, you have nothing to stress about. You're in your home base. I mean, like
Mhm.
you are at home. You are going to do better. But like when you go somewhere else, you're rather gonna thrive off of that, or it's
Mhm.
going to be uh, you're just gonna do better. The pressure's gonna set in, or you're gonna crumble. One of the two.
Oh, big time. Growing up, like I said, so I live out here in the country in Oklahoma. Growing up, I had maybe like a 10 download and like a point 0.9 upload. So and I was on a 78 ping. So when I would compete and challenge against people, the games that I barely lost, the opponents would talk shit. I'm like, wait till I catch you at LAN. I was like, you have a better connection, and 9 times out of 10, I'd beat the living shit out of them.
Yeah, when I lived at home with my mom, when I competed, I'd play in Madden tournaments. That's one thing I was really big in was Madden.
Oh, big time.
I was a top 500 player for a few years in a row, and I was really getting into it. And then just the new Madden's coming out, and then the Wi-Fi is what would kill me because uh, people would do just the littlest adjustment, like right before the ball snaps, and my Wi-Fi it was like it can't adjust quick enough. I'm like, shit, dude, he just moved over there. I need to get my safety back. I'm like, shit, they're going deep. I'm like, they're
Yep.
running. Usually they're throwing short passes. I'm like, fuck, they're going deep. I'm like, they're running
Yep.
trips right. Oh, we're fucked.
Oh yeah, it sucks, and that's the thing too. You know as good as I do. As soon as a hiccup happens on your internet, you're screwed. I remember at my old place, like so, whenever we would do that, my daughter would either like be on the internet with me, and she like Snapchat her friend, or go in the kitchen with the microwave, and for whatever reason, it would disturb the router, and my ping would go from a 78 to like a 450 or 900. I'm like, Jesus Christ, get off the internet now.
And I used to have my mom used to be married and well she's still married but she has a husband and he had a kid that lived with us and he'd always be on the Wi-Fi. He didn't have a job. I mean, he was like 23, didn't have a job. He stayed at home, played video games all day. I get home,
Right.
I'm expecting to have fun on the internet. Hell, I go on Fortnite, it's like 1,000 ping, and you can have like where you can have the bar and look at your ping. I remember loading into the lobby, it's going good, and then as soon as you load in, it's just I'm like, son of
You're
a
like,
bitch.
yep,
I'm
yep.
like, I'm about to have the time of my life, and then no, it's just gone.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, I'd be trying to compete on like Rocket League or Overwatch at my house, and that's when my daughter, like, I'm gonna make some popcorn. I'm like, get that damn microwave off.
And uh, Rocket League was one of the big ones I couldn't play.
Really? How
Yeah,
come?
well, I loved Rocket League in general. It was the internet. I
Mm.
would go for uh, just to hit the ball, and then on my screen, I'm going towards the ball, and then I just go
It's like,
right around it. I'm like,
yep.
dude, what?
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, and that's what some people don't realize is internet connection is a very big thing you need. And then from there, of course, the monitors that we're on, the systems that we're on as well. Everything adds up together to make a hopefully a good experience. Because like you said, if your stuff shit, it ain't gonna go too well for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can have a cheap setup. Like hell, I have a $300 PC, but that
Right.
that works great for me because all I do is
Oh, big time.
stream. I don't do much to it, and then I have an Xbox Series X.
Right.
So
Yeah,
like,
I've got my Series X here, and I do have a beefy boy down here. But when I go to tournaments, I'm on like a piece of shit Chromebook. I'm like, all right, I got the browser up. That's all I need.
I mean, that's really all you do need. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I got a nice PC because I was talking to my buddy. He's really good at PCs, and I said, uh, I need a PC that I can stream off of. I don't need to play games on. I mean, like Roblox maybe every once in a while, and Minecraft. I mean, like those are the
Right.
only two games. But I don't need like to have perfect frames on like GTA 5 or some shit. And then I found
Right.
this one. They wanted 400, and they ended up giving me it for 3. It's wired wrong, so like the lighting don't work. I mean, like who cares?
Right.
It's
If
not.
if it works, it works. No need to. Oh, I gotta take this apart because then you're gonna break it more if you're not careful.
Oh yeah, I mean the only part I had to put in was a Wi-Fi thing because he had Ethernet cable, and I had to
Yeah.
put it on Wi-Fi thing so it could connect. But it works great. And I even got GTA 5M on it, and it works just fine. I was so
That's awesome.
surprised, no lag whatsoever. I'm like $300 for this PC, and everybody's paying like $2,000 for a PC. I'm just
Right.
like, I'm running shit just fine.
Oh yeah, big time. There's a company that I freelance for. They're based out of Wichita, Kansas, called Unified. Well, we hosted a big Call of Duty event down in Lawton, Oklahoma, and we had some of the players from like New York Subliners, a couple other ones come out, and they were like, "Man, these computers are great. They're better than the Call of Duty ones. What kind of graphic card?" I was like, "1660s." They're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, they're like, "We play on 3080s and stuff, and they're shit." I'm like, works just fine. I mean, I've had to Frankenstein a few of them because traveling back and forth stuff gets rattled loose. But besides that, yeah, I'm like, well, it should tell you something that they're trying to go over flashiness. We just got stuff that works. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like you see everything where like water cooled PCs, and I'm like, yeah, they look cool, but like you're paying for all that, and those are the
Oh yeah.
hardest ones to work on because you're messing with water, and it's over a bunch of circuit boards, and
Oh yeah.
one thing goes wrong, a leak, and oh, you're fucked. And
Yeah, that's how this one is. It is. I got it from a homie, but it is water cooled and it's got the flashy neon lights. I don't care about that crap. But yeah, I'm looking at my liquid. I'm like, I just don't trust liquid in my PC,
oh,
man.
dude, I don't trust liquid, and uh, it's
Around
just
any electronic.
no any
Same as a
electronic.
magnet. No, no, no.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I love having a PC. I grew up not having a PC. I was strictly console, and then now I have a PC and a console. I do say I'm glad I got a PC. That I did
Oh
invest
yeah.
into one. And then now I can add parts if I ever want to. Obviously, I don't need to, but
Right.
it's really nice having a PC. And everybody they like stress about, it and they're like, yeah, I don't want to. It's expensive to get a PC. It's like $800 to $1,000 for a decent one. I'm like, you can go on Facebook Marketplace and then just look at the specs, and then you'll
Yeah.
find one.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, shit, these Xbox Series X's were $500. So I mean, spend an extra 300 and bam, you got yourself a PC if you wanted it.
Oh yeah, and
Plus PCs allow you to play all different genre of games, plus emulators from old school stuff compared to where the Xbox. All right, well, we just got Xbox games. That's it. You know?
yep. And my Series X, I bought that for off Xbox Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace for 300
Yeah.
bucks too, and
Oh hell yeah.
so I've really like redone my whole setup, and I have a 144 hertz monitor. Got that for like 40 bucks off Facebook Marketplace. So
Yeah.
I've done really good setting up my new setup for me.
Oh, that's how I am. I just look around for good deals and just snag it. I mean, I remember. So I got this one actually off of a friend that played in tournaments with me. He's like, "Hey, bro, I don't need it. It's pretty much brand new. It comes with an elite controller and extra stuff." He's like, "How does 450 sound?" I was like, "How about 500 for a friend?" He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." I was like, "You need the money. I'm gonna pay for what it was. The elite controller's a bonus, but here's extra." I mean, and like I said, he loved it since it helped him out. Here we are. You know?
Oh yeah, and if you got the money, it's always great to help out a buddy, and
Oh yeah.
uh, that's one of my best parts. Really like gaming. I mean, me growing up, I've never had. Uh, I've always been like the person that minds their business. I have friends,
Mhm.
but like I don't have a lot of them that like you just connect with all the time, and like you have those friend groups in high school. I was never one of them, but then like you come to gaming, everybody, no matter who you are, you can always have that one person gaming. And that's one thing I love about gaming and getting people to connect with each other. And that's another reason why I do this podcast too. Get to know people, try and branch out, reach new people, see how they do their life in esports. And like you, when I seen that you did lands and you do events, I said, I need to talk to this guy because this guy, I'm like, I hosted a league and I always wanted to do a LAN. I wanted to hear your story and stuff like that, and then like just getting into other esports players in general. Uh, or like I don't know if you know the gaming chef. I interviewed him 2 podcasts ago. I
Nice.
just
Oh yeah.
posted his up last night actually. I recorded one podcast last night, and then I got his podcast up last night too. But I got him up, and just hearing like their perspective, like the gaming chef. I did not know he is an actual chef. Like he is a trained chef. And that was I always wonder that. How the hell did you come up with a gaming chef? And then I get
Right.
this backstory. It's always great to hear backstories on like the weird names or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, that's the fun part about it. And that's the thing too is so I mean, if you ever do come to a dream hack or whatever, or even one of my events, normally what I do, especially for gamers or my staff, I smoke barbecue. And then what I do before I go to the event, if it's a long distance, I freeze it, stick it in some thermal packs. So by the time I get to my hotel room, it's still frozen. And then from there, whenever we're setting up, probably usually on a Thursday when it's slowed down, we'll get a microwave. I'll feed that the entire staff or my gamers if they want it, and that's how it is. Because food gaming, makes the world go around. And so to hear your buddy about him being a chef, that's awesome that he's a chef and a gamer at the same time.
Oh yeah, and it's always wonderful to have like those extra people. Like you can have somebody that's in a whole different field, and he can actually help you out and stuff, and you connect through something, and then they can help you out. Like I powerlift, he could do meal prep for me at some point. Like he could tell me recipes or stuff, and that's just a great like buddy to have at some point too.
Oh, it is. It's like whenever I work with my people, like I said, everybody has their own talents and weaknesses. Like I know for a fact anybody can learn. The moment you say, "Oh, I know everything," is the moment you're full of shit. We
Oh
already
yeah.
know that. That's why you always say jack of all trades, master of none. But yeah, I've learned networking from guys that I work with. I've learned how to like code stuff. I'm like, I never knew this shit. This is pretty cool. you know?
Oh yeah, coding's really difficult. I've known a lot of people that's really gotten into coding, and that's a whole different ballpark. And
Oh, it is. I've sit there and watched them. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing over there? I was like, I'm gonna go get me some whiskey. I don't know what you're doing, but this is cool.
yeah, they're like putting in a command. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, you do you, man. I don't know what the hell you're doing, bro.
Oh, I watched one of my guys build an entire Minecraft server while sitting next to me. He's just like, little, lean back. I'm like, bro, I wouldn't know what the hell to do with that crap.
Yeah, I go back on a Minecraft world. I'm like, and there you go like behind the scenes, and there's just command blocks everywhere.
Mhm.
Just you're typing in commands, get everything set up. I'm like, no, I mean like
Yeah.
that's too much work in general.
Oh, Counter Strike's the same way. If you actually want real land lobbies, it's you got to pretty much go in there and code. All right, what map do you want? What the health pack's got to be? So you got to know all these things. I'm just looking. I'm like, if I touch that, unless you tell me to push the R button for ready, I'm breaking something. I ain't dealing with your crap.
So I did have one question. So like
Yeah.
speaking about the Wi-Fi too, uh, does the Wi-Fi come into effect at LAN? Is that kind of difficult when it comes to LANs?
Oh no. So for lands, we're always hardwired. There's nothing ever Wi-Fi active at all, and so that's that. So whenever we choose what titles we want, I always go to the venue and be like, all right, what does it cost for your internet? What's your speeds? Because if it's shit or it costs too much, then we flip it to offline games like FGC, Smash Bros, stuff like that. Things
Hmm.
that won't, because a lot of people don't understand. Hotels, venues, they'll charge you internet anywhere between $100 a day up to about 5 grand a day based on what you
Jeez.
want. Yeah, and that's a day, and sometimes it's even more. So the good thing about when we do our dream hack events like that is they know we're going to bring them a lot of customers, so they cut them a deal. But I've been to venues where like, yeah, it's 10 grand for 50 megabytes a day. I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. We're,
God.
we're going to Smash.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me.
Yeah. All offline titles. Yeah, I mean it's no different. Like we've done we actually did an esports event on a cruise ship and same thing. Like, oh, can we do like
Man.
Rocket League or League of Legends on this? I'm like, bro, I was like, first of all, they're gonna charge you at the ass for Wi-Fi, and then plus you gotta share it because you have to have a dedicated line to you guys to make sure. Because if you're sharing with everybody else, you're going to be lagging bad. And so, same thing, just choose offline titles and you're a happy camper.
Yeah, that is true. Um, uh, Man, I had another question, but I just blinked. But uh, so like for your when you do your lands,
Mhm.
have you done like almost a land in almost every state, or is it just
Yeah.
focused in certain states?
Oh, no, no, no. I go everywhere. The only states I will tell you that I have not done it yet, Alaska and Hawaii. That's only two I haven't done.
I can
But I'm not saying
understand that.
it's not saying I wouldn't, but just I haven't had anybody reach out to me yet, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Obviously, if you're ever in Indiana, just hit me up and I will
Of
be
course,
there. I would
of
love to
course,
be.
man.
I'd love
Yeah,
to
yeah,
be
yeah.
there.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And that's my thing too. Is whenever I go places based on the criteria, I try to find workers within that area. So yeah, same thing. If you actually want to work next to me behind the scenes, we'd love to have you out there and get you a paycheck in your pocket too.
Hell yeah, I'd love to do that. Just to be there, experience it. Even like I'm not even big in like some of the games that you talk about. I'm
Mhm.
not real big into a lot of them, but it's still the experience of being there. And then uh, obviously it's a new field for me. I've kind of have some league management underneath me because I've owned the league. I've kind of helped other leagues out too. But just being out there and being in there in general, I always thought it would be fun to have a job in esports. Uh, I bet that's just a hell of a nice job to
It
do
is
all the time.
it is fun, but I mean, don't get me wrong, it is tiring and based on your demographic, whether you have kids. Like I have two kids, but they understand perfectly. Actually, my daughter goes with me to a lot of my stuff, and we compete in tournaments. But based on all right, if you're a relationship, this or that, sometimes being away a lot can play a factor in it. But for myself, I usually do about 70 to 100 events a year, online and physical, and sometimes I've doubled and triple headed while having at a physical event ran two events online. So it really depends on what you need. But it is a fun thing, but it is a job just like anything else. It will beat you down. You'll have your frustrations. You'll be mad at people sometimes. But at the end of the day, you just got to suck it up. And if you enjoy it, you're going to stick with it and make it better each time, you know?
Yeah, that's always something I would like to like dip my foot into because the online tournaments, those are like it feels unprofessional. I mean, like
Mhm.
to me, I have fun in them. I have fun like hosting them. I had fun managing them, but you always have like the little teams and like it's small entries like 40, $50. Anybody can pay that.
Oh, yeah,
And
big time.
you get amateurs in and they're like a just a small like get together team and then they'll jump out and you have more problems in those and uh, those just I love the management, love that part, but I would
Mhm.
actually love to like fly there, get to know people, and actually like do stuff and be a part in a project. And that's always been a dream of mine to help out in esports. So going off of that, how'd you get into all this in the first place?
So, I mean, I've been a gamer since I was little. Like I said, I'm 39, so I grew up with a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari. So I played, Donkey Kong Country, Mario Kart. What's really funny is whenever I was 7 years old, Blockbuster Video, it was around. It was 1992. They had a Donkey Kong Country tournament. It was how many bananas can you get in 5 minutes? So leading up to it, like my mom and like my sister and all, then they'd feed me full of honey roasted peanuts, Mountain Dew, shit like that. And I remember I went to Blockbuster, I won, and the prize wasn't much. It was like I think it was a coupon to pretty much get free rentals or whatever. But it was my first time, and after that I was like, this is great. And then growing up where I did, I would host like Mario Kart tournaments on the 64, Smash Bros at like churches and stuff like that, or have like you said friends come over and game. And then when Halo came out, I actually brought it and did a big LAN in my hometown here, and we probably had, like you said, just mixed things of just 2v2s, but we had probably about 25 teams of 2v2s. The prize was $100, and it was like $5 to enter, but we had a blast.
Oh yeah.
And so as everything had progressed from there, like I said, I found Sundance Giovanni, who created MLG. I went up there to his place because he hosted a tournament in his basement. I got like fifth place. I got my ass kicked, but I was like, I love Halo. I want to learn more about this. And as we grew, I mean, here we are now. I competed on circuits. I also hosted, and then yeah, just that whole of just wanting to branch out, try new things, and that's where I'm at today. And that's what I always tell people when they're like, "Oh, I wish," but like, why don't you try it? I mean, if you can't because of financials or your health or whatever, I get it, but give something a shot. You don't know if it'll go farther or not. It's better than trying it and failing, and instead of sitting back saying, "Oh, I wonder what would happen if I did this."
Yeah, exactly. And like I'm young, I don't have like a person I need to rely on at some point. And like
Right.
I'm 19, I'll be becoming 20. But I own my own house. I've done a lot of stuff in esports. I've had a
Mhm.
ton of experience, and I'm always open to trying new things. And I mean, worst case scenario, you do it, don't do it again. If you don't like it, I mean, or it doesn't go well, don't do it again. I mean,
Oh,
that's
exactly.
simple. And like, if you go and earn a paycheck, I mean, there you go. I mean, that pays for all your inconvenience. But uh,
Right.
either
Well, that's like
way,
you. That's like when you started up your leagues, you were like, this is gonna this is gonna be great. Did some of them not go the way? Sure, but you tried it and you learned compared to like, man, I wish I would have done that when I was younger or whatever the case is.
yeah, I was actually really glad that I'd done a lot of that stuff when I was younger.
Mhm.
The org and the league, I've experienced that. I know what I could do if I did it again, what I did
Mhm.
wrong, and what I could change. Um, and just me being young in general, like I didn't invest any money into those, and actually those came out decently successful for investing zero money in. But
Right, which is good. And then, like I said, all you did was just it was just your time that you unfortunately lost, but you learned a lot along the way.
that's true. And then I've gained a lot of knowledge. Met a lot of people, gained a lot of friendships, uh, played a lot of good games, and heck, that passed the time in high school. I'd be in the middle of study hall, I get my homework done, I'm sitting there on my phone recruiting people in the middle of class, and or
Right.
recruiting teams for the league in the middle of class, and that really passed. I started my sophomore year and ended about my senior year, so that passed about 3 solid years of my time getting all that stuff done.
And that's good. I mean, and like I said, during that, you got a lot. Growing up, you have different things. You have your sports, you have your jocks, or you have your nerds, or whatever. I guess we were considered nerds because of what we did, even though I did play sports too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was the kid, like you said, where everybody wanted to go to their house because they had the gaming systems and get to hang out, which was fine. I liked it, but outside of that, I was short and fat. No one gave a shit about me. I mean, now I'm 6'6", 220. I'm a lot bigger than what I
Oh
was.
yeah.
And so but because of me always being humble, like even the people growing up, they're like, oh, you're wasting your time gaming, it ain't gonna be shit. Now a lot of them
Now
have
look at you.
apologized. Yeah, and which I mean that's the thing, I didn't like hold it over their head. I'm like, hey, it's all right, I didn't think it'd be where it's at now, but I appreciate you being there. I appreciate your words, and you're always going to be a friend no matter how you might have viewed me back then. We were kids, we don't fucking know any difference.
Exactly. And you look at a lot of people, and even the people I've interviewed. The last guy I interviewed, his name was EP. He talked about how like when he was younger, he has dwarfism.
Hmm.
He talks about how not a lot of people believed in him, and going into esports and competing for lands, and now he started to get some back from his mom, and then all that did was push him to get there, and then now where he is now, that's even
Right.
great. And then he talks about his experience at lands and stuff. He's a great guy. He has a big heart, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's one of my good friends. He used to do production for like our small mom and pops here around Oklahoma. Well, his cousin would come to our tournaments, but he had I don't know what the condition is called, but pretty much right where your elbow is at, his hand was like right here, so it stopped. So he had no forearm,
Mm-hmm.
and he only had a couple of digits. So his nickname was T Rex. But same thing, he'd get the controller like that and just dominate the shit out of people on COD. I'm like, bro, how are you doing that? He's like, just muscle memory and just learning stuff. I'm like, good for you, man. I'm proud of you for being able to get past your handicap that you unfortunately have.
Yeah, and like I even told him you are a normal person. I mean, like,
Mhm.
there's nothing different about you, and
Oh, big
like,
time.
I mean, everybody's different. Heck, you're 6'6".
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot. Everybody's
Yeah.
different. You can't find just normal people. You won't just go somewhere and be like, this guy looks alike to me. This is the same height, same gender, same everything. He's just like me.
Yeah.
That's the best part about society. You can go to a land, you're going to meet dozens of different people.
Oh, big
Everybody's going to
time.
be different, but they're all human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is, and that's what cracks me up about like I said, my boss, his name's Chris at DreamHack on my side. He calls me and my buddy the rednecks because we're the country boys, which is fine. We don't it doesn't bother us, but because of the fact, like you said, most people they're thinking, oh, you got to be a city slicker or whatever you want to game. No, everybody freaking games. So I'm sure there's Amish people that probably run away and game somewhere that we don't know about. But yeah, and that's the thing too is most people when they're hosting, they try to be professional looking or whatever. I'm in cowboy boots, basketball shorts, camo hat, and a t-shirt or a gaming jersey, and that's just what you get out of me. And so everybody knows if you see me in boots and shorts, I'm the guy you need to come to. And that's what everybody look for, the guy with the camo hat, the bright socks, and the boots.
Yeah, and that's our guy. We
and,
need to
and that's
find
what they
him.
point to. They're like, he's that way. I'm like, okay,
It's pretty easy to find too, and like,
it is.
because if you just describe a normal person, yeah, he's in a gaming jersey and jeans. Hell, that's everybody.
That's everybody, yeah, and that's my thing too. Is I like bright colors to try to, because like I said, it's easy for people to find you, and so I'm like, all right, so yeah, there'd be times I'd have my Crocs on, but I'd have like bright neon socks or something like that. I'm like, all right, hi guys.
It's super easy to find those people, and I just like I play semi-pro football too, and like if you need to find a certain person, you're like everybody looks the same. I mean, like,
Right.
and like especially if you're the first couple years when I first started playing, it's like I don't know who the hell that is. You gotta like describe them to me, and that sounds like everybody I see. You gotta fight through a
Right.
crowd to get to them, and especially going to my first combine, I was like, man, this sucks. Trying to
Oh, I
find the
bet.
recruiters and stuff, I'm like, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah. See, that was the one good thing. Whenever I played semi-pro football too for a bit, but yeah, I'm like I said, I'm covered in ink, as you could tell. It's on my legs. But everybody was just like, "Where's he at?" Like, look for the tall dumbass with the giraffe with the tattoo. I'm like, that's me.
oh yeah, I'm actually when I turn 20, I'm starting my forearm sleeves, so I'm getting full sleeves eventually. But uh, I've been slowly planning out my arms as I go and trying to get it all done so I can get it slowly done at once. But
Right.
uh,
No, tattoos are fun, but they are addicting, my friend. Always addicting.
oh, I bet they can be.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think I've got over about 180 hours on me. I
Jesus.
stopped counting the pieces. I mean, my sleeve alone, which goes from wrist all the way like to right there, is 96 hours. I still got to do the elbow, but I'll get there when I get there. But yeah, I've got a big back piece, forearm, back arm, legs. My legs, I probably need, I think about 10 hours left on the left and about 15 on the right.
Yeah, my legs. I don't think I will touch my legs at all.
I could tell you on the bony areas, it sucks.
My plan is just two full sleeves, and if I run out of room, maybe do a chest piece. And
Right.
other than that, I think I'll call it quits after two arms.
Yeah, ink though is it's addicting, man. I've been having some what we call ink therapy withdrawals. Like, man, I need to go see my tattoo artist, see how he's doing, and just shoot the shit and get some ink slung on me.
Yeah, and like they even have like random things like you spin the wheel and get or like their design or whatever. Then you're like, just to get a tattoo, and
Oh yeah. Well, hell, there was times whenever me and his name's Waylon Rogers. He's been doing tattoos for a long time out here. His father was a professional one too. But yeah, there'd be times where I would get off of a tournament. It'd be like 8 p.m. and I'd go to a shop. We'd be there from like 8 to 3 a.m. just shooting the shit, getting
Mhm.
pizza. I remember when Walmart was 24/7. I think Call of Duty Ghost had just came out or something, and so we went to Walmart at like 2 a.m. to buy it. We're like, hey guys, what's going on? And then just come back and work. And I would always play video games while getting inked on, and so it's always a blast.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing. I grew up around like people having tattoos, and I'm like, I fell in love like with a certain design. Like I don't like patchwork. I want to have like where it flows in. You can look together, and uh, that's always been my favorite.
Oh, big time, big time, big time. Yeah, that's me. If people want to go and look and point at a book, be like, I like that. Hey, that's cool. That's what you want. But I want something that nobody has, but it has meaning to it. So like my entire left arm is Halo 1 through 4, clearly because of my career.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and then my left leg, I'm a big Jack Daniels guy, so I have an entire Jack Daniels leg sleeve on my left leg. My right leg is different characters of games that I've won tournaments for. So like I've got Wario from Mario Kart on there. I've got my Master Chief like it's like a crossbone helmet, and then I've got Reaper on the back from Overwatch. So I've got a variety of characters on my right leg, and then just my left arm is Stitch. And then I've got one for my dad. I've got one for my son. Then I've got like a necklace that goes around for my daughter and stuff. And then besides that, just a big back piece.
That's really like a lot of mine's going to be meaningful. I mean, as much as I've grown my brand, I have to get a blue star at some point. And like I like the Dallas Cowboys, but I have to get a blue star at some point. That's really where the names come from was from the Cowboys, but I still got to
Okay.
get a blue star
Oh yeah.
at some point because like I just can't go without. I've created the brand and I've got the following. I have to do it at some point.
Understandable, man. Like I said, you got to go with where the passion's at, bro.
Oh yeah, and that's just how it is. But um, one thing is I was going to ask you, where do you see yourself in the future going with these lands? Are you going to still competing, or you think you're going to move up? Where are you thinking?
It really depends. Like I said, if I do compete now, it's usually just homies saying, "Hey, let's go wreck some kids, make some easy change." All right, cool, whatever, go have fun. Outside of that, I mean, I have been offered a lot of full time positions. I've been offered to move up to Seattle for 343 when they were there. I've been offered to help with Bungie, with Destiny. As much as I don't mind a full time job, it's just not for me. I like freelancing. I like being able to help everybody with my skill set because everybody needs something or another that I might have. And it's great. But also because of that, I do get to meet new networks and keep expanding. So I plan on owning my company here in, like I said, Oklahoma. We travel, of course, for stuff, but we do production. We're gonna amp that up because we already do physical things like swim meets, football, but then esports as well. But what I would like to do is just continue getting more gear for my company and start hosting my own big lands here, and also maybe a training facility because most of our gamers that are out here either go to their homes. There is a couple of land centers they can go to, but of course it's a land center. I want it to be an actual learning and coaching thing, not only in the gaming atmosphere, but like you said, learning how to be a coach, learning how to be a manager. All right, hey, this computer's broken. Let's work on it. I want people that love this industry to learn every atmosphere they can in case something in that realm ever needs them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, don't get me wrong, I know people go to college for the esports degree. In my opinion, I think that's a load of shit because the same stuff you can get out of, let's say you want to be a producer, all right, that's broadcasting. And same thing as like my tournament admin. Everything we do that you see on TV, like you said, the Cowboys, everything you watch from analysts and that, we do the same thing in esports. So to get a degree, unless you're going to actually use that always on esports, just get something that correlates with the same area, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And a lot of people unfortunately don't grasp that, and I've seen friends that have got this degree and they're like, well, no one's picking me up. I'm like, well, sorry, you could have maybe done something different, but I'm not going to knock you for it because that's
Yeah.
what you wanted, you know.
One thing for me, I'm not a big person for college. That's just me. I've never been a
Yeah,
big person like emphasize going to college. Everybody has to go to college.
I
I
never went to college.
I've never went either, and I,
I had a basketball scholarship at Southern Nazarene. I didn't go. I'm like, I like esports too much.
I had a football scholarship. I had a 4.0 GPA. I could have went,
Yeah.
but I was like, hell no. I've had
Right.
enough school. I've been in 13 years. Let's spend $70,000 for 4 years, go in student debt, and then learn a whole lot of horse shit for a piece of paper. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
basically.
the only thing I can see of using college for is like law or medical,
Medical or something. Yep. Yep.
something
That's
like
the biggest
that.
thing.
Because like other than that, there's almost no point. I mean, like sometimes I can see like I feel like it should be more trade school stuff like
Oh, yeah, the blue
specific.
collar work, dude, big time.
Oh yeah, I'm a blue collar worker. I work as a
Yeah, same.
mechanic.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm actually a partner in my uh, the family business right now.
Oh yeah.
So, but obviously, I've always enjoyed esports, and I'd love to incorporate that and like uh, into some of maybe even into the mechanics. But
Oh yeah.
just learning everything. Like one thing about me, when it comes to like esports, I've been in business for 3 years now. I
Hmm.
can really incorporate that into esports, into leagues, and orgs, and just things in general because I look at
Yeah.
stuff more from a business
Perspective.
perspective. I can't get the word out, but
Trust me, sometimes my words are like,
I'm just like, oh, what's the? I see it, but I can't get to it. But
right.
the perspective, and not a lot of people can see that. And when I was younger, I didn't have that perspective. I just was like, I'm doing what I want, and like I had no marketing skills. I had
Right.
no connections. I mean, the reason I have the connections I do now is from what I had
Hmm.
and from my past, because my only connection I had when I first started gaming was Lego. He
Right.
was the only person, and I actually put a lot of props into Lego. We met back in fifth grade. He sat behind me, and we met and we started playing together, and then we started competing together. And he's really brought me into a lot of stuff. He brought me into competing. I never liked competing, and then he brought me into CDL, and then I started learning new things, Call of Duty. I've learned a lot from him, and I know he's learned a lot from me. But
Right.
and he's still a great buddy to this day. And even though he moved schools back in, I think, middle school at some point,
Mm.
we've stayed in touch. Always played COD together. Heck, I was just in touch with him last night. I put out new merch for the election as a joke, but
Mm.
I texted him about that. But the connections is a big part on esports, in
Oh,
my
it is.
opinion, too. And I mean, that could be in
It is.
anything, too. But uh,
Oh yeah.
esports in general, I think, is a big thing on connections. Because if you don't have them, you don't got nothing.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I mean, that's when people always approach me like, well, how do I get more involved or where can I find? I'm like, well, honestly, just Google search, look on Twitter. LinkedIn is a big thing. Like I advertise myself on there and I even say, hey, if you're in the area, just come stop by. I'd love to shoot the shit with you if you're interested in learning more, or get a beer or something. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I always tell people is never do the what ifs. Always try. And like I said, the worst answer you'll get is no. Okay, cool. All right. I'll see you later. I'll try again later if you're ever interested.
That is true. And one thing about where I live, it's kind of a smaller city. There's no land centers. And hell, we just got our like football card store, like sports card store, just like this year, or like
Right.
more like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And like we're just not getting that. And there's no land center. And like the city's growing. We're building a battery plant right now, so we're getting a lot of new people coming in. I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel like this city could grow so much more, and like there's no like, and the where I'm from, we have IU University. I mean, like we're not the big IU Bloomington, but we have an IU
Right.
right in the middle. But
Yeah.
they give out scholarships for esports. I mean, like it's not
Oh,
big
big
games
time.
like Call of Duty and stuff, but they give out
Right.
scholarships. Hell, my buddy's playing on a Rocket League scholarship right now at
Mhm.
IU, and he was in the state championship this year,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
uh, for them, and I was like, that has to be great. Even though he lost, I'm like, and he came to me, he was upset that he lost the state championship. They didn't score a single goal the whole game. I'm like, hey man, think about it. You are the only team, one of the
That
two
got
that's
there.
made it there. I'm
Yeah,
like,
big time.
just think about it. I mean, even though you got smacked, I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, this is your freshman year. Just imagine you got 3 more
Oh,
years.
oh, big time, big time. Yeah, no, I same thing. Like all of our kids that are here, that like so we try to pipeline them through our high school program because we also operate the college. But same concept. I'm like, look, you're not gonna win them all. So here in Oklahoma, there's two high school leagues. There's ours, which is the bigger one, and then there's OKSE, which does kind of they have a little bit of medium, I guess you could say, schools like 3A, 4A, but they usually do the small ones. But one of their teams, they went 4-0, or sorry, not 4-0. They went 58-0 their entire career until they decided to play one of our teams that joined theirs, and they smacked the shit out of them. Those kids were like, "Oh, we're blah 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 blah. We're so down bad." I'm like, guys, you literally swept your entire stuff until you played one of our guys who just happened to be better. Don't take it to heart. All these kids that said that same thing, they all got scholarships to Southwest Oklahoma State University, and the same coach that coached them in high school ended up getting a job there. So he's got all the kids that he knows,
Yeah.
and it makes me happy. But that's what it takes sometimes is just a big swift kick in the ass to make you realize you're not invincible and there's a lot you can learn in life.
Oh yeah, I learned the hard way because I play when I started playing Madden tournaments. When I used to just play 1v1s and I would smack
Right.
everybody. I was ranked top 500 in the world, and then I started playing for money. And then
Mhm.
I remember first game. A lot of these people know each other. They got a certain way they play. I got my ass whooped first game.
It's a
I,
whole new beast.
I was just like, this is a whole new beast,
Mhm.
and I was like, and like you have to look at who you're playing. You got a game plan. Like it was a certain eye. I'm like, you got a game plan who you're playing. You got to know what they do. You got to look at their film. And I'm like, shit. And even like the best player I ever played, he was ranked like he was ranked 13th in the world. I beat him once, and I still live off that forever. I live off that shit.
What on you?
I got one on him, but
Yeah.
I game planned. It was this. We played like 3 times total. First time he whooped my ass.
Yeah.
Second time, I game planned. I think for over 4 hours because he ran the same 3 plays. If he does this, he's going to do this. If he does this, he's going to do this. My defense is
learned his rhythm.
perfect. My defense is perfect. There's no way he can get past it. He can't block this one play on offense no matter how hard he game plans. I got him. I enter the game. my defense shows up. He does 2 bad drives, has to punt. I go down and score. I'm up 14-0. Here comes a brand new offense I've never seen once in my
Just like,
life. And I
that's what I
am
tell people.
shitting my pants trying to figure out. He's scoring first play, second play. I'm like, oh shit.
Yep.
And there's just no planning for some of that stuff.
There's not, and that's what I tell these young kids when they're like, oh, we're gonna go to this tournament and wreck. I'm like, all right, you might be Homestar Heroes, you might be good at online, but you always need a backup plan because option A might not always work. You need an option B, C, and D to flip the script. Because if you're only used to A, and like you said, you weren't used to it, your shit's gonna get pushed in real quick.
Oh yeah, and like when it comes to football, you have a lot of strategy. But like when it comes to like shooter games, I mean, you're playing off what's happening. And like there is strategies that come into play, but
Right.
there's not as many. You got to play off what the other team does, and this other guy, it's kind of predictable because like hell, even in real life, they're running a 4-3 defense. This is what we're
Right.
going to see. This is what they've been running all season. This is what we're going to see.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like
Yep.
even the third time we played, I beat him. I don't know what was happening. It was an off day. I beat him like 17-14.
Right.
It was the closest game I've ever played, but I I got that field goal in the first half, and that really saved a lot of us, my whole team, going into the final quarter,
Right.
going in the half, and then I even played this one guy. He was top 300 in the world. I was down like 14 to 28. I even have it on my TikTok. I was down big. It was going in the fourth quarter. I fumbled going into the end zone. So he had the ball with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I was down 2 touchdowns, and he threw a pick. I went down, scored. I got the ball back, scored again. Went for the 2-point conversion because that was the only way I made it into overtime. And then he got ball first in overtime, so I already thought I was screwed. He threw a pick, and then I ended up going back and scoring. That
Right.
was probably one of my best games I've ever played in my life.
That's awesome right there, man.
But
That's awesome.
even though that's just like for fun and like uh, playing some of the top ranked players, I mean, the experience you can get just learning from other people, and a lot of the stuff I say that can really transpire to a lot of other people playing. That can
Oh,
go to Rocket League. That could go to Madden, Call of Duty. Uh, VOD is my number one thing.
right. Yeah.
Always
Oh,
watch
it
VOD.
definitely is. It definitely is. Like my best friend. I mean, he's like my brother to me. Growing up, we had, like you said, Smash 64. We'd go back and forth. But as soon as the FPSs came out, he can't touch me on FPS, and he'll tell everybody, he's like, I'm never playing that motherfucker again. Because I was like, how about, I got cocky one day. I was like, how about the four of you assholes take me on in Halo? Like, all right. I beat him 50-12. And even he told me, he's like, I will not play him. He's like, because no matter how much I shot him, he wouldn't fucking die. And then, like, so we'll go to, when we're in our hotel rooms, we'll usually play like Smash Bros, Mario Golf, just whatever the hell it is. And then one time we did fire up Halo, and he got a kill, just a kill on me. He's like, all right, I quit. I killed you one time. That's all I need to do.
I retire.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you.
That's one of the best parts about having buddies,
Oh, it is.
and
It
like
is.
you can kick their ass. And like I remember when I was really getting into competing for Madden, I had this one buddy. He's like, I'm gonna whoop your ass. You're full of shit. And he told me all day at school, and he's like, you're full of shit. There's no way you're this good. I whooped him 112-7.
That's
And,
fucking great.
and no matter what he tried, I just brought out a new offense, and I was like, dude, you can't be this bad. You talked all this shit. There's no way you can be this bad.
Oh, that was same, man. Like I said, growing up, like I said, I would always be the guy that would beat people's asses and stuff. But then, going to house parties, people play video games, and I'd be the guy just sitting back with my whiskey, hanging out, and I hear people, "Oh, I beat anybody's ass at COD or Halo." I'm like, okay, and I just ignored it. And my friends would look at me like, "Dude, go beat his ass." I'm like, don't worry about it. And they're like, "Oh, you something?" I'm like, "All right, I tried backing away. You did let me."
Here it comes. And
Yep, beat the shit out of him. Just like, hey, just go drink your sorrows away, bro, because it ain't gonna be on me.
yeah, and we did like a little Madden tournament in school. We had like a bunch of people. I hosted it, and like it was kind of just under the radar in school, but there's like 50 people playing in it, and I play as the Chiefs, and they're like, you're only winning because you're the Chiefs. Okay, give me the Jets.
I'll switch that around for you real quick and just beat your ass again.
And give me the Jets. Yes, the game was closer, but
Right.
I still beat them by like 3 touchdowns. Okay.
That's funny. I have a picture. It's on my Facebook. I have to find it somewhere. But it was a 2v2 tournament, and it was a throwback Halo 2. and these kids were talking shit like, "We're gonna beat you." I was like, you know what? My partner, I'm gonna allow him to shoot. I'm not gonna shoot a single shot. I'm just gonna melee and throw grenades. I went 35 and 15 on him. I'm like, come on.
Oh man,
I was like, don't talk shit. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you this way. You're not gonna like it.
I that's one great thing about video games,
Yeah.
talking shit, and then it's whether you can back it up or you're not gonna back it up at all.
Or you're gonna regret those words. One of
Oh
the
yeah,
two.
that's just one of the two, and that's the best part about video games, and the fact that it's actually you can play for millions of dollars in esports.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, and people that I can make a career out of this.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
it is.
it makes me happy to see it. Just
It
growing up
does.
with video games and people saying, "Oh, video games is never going to take you far. Video games aren't going to do anything for you. You need a real life job." But then you see people, they're making millions. Oh, they're the top people. Not really. I mean, like, hell,
Not
you
really.
set up lands. You're making
Yeah.
money off of this. You're doing good shit
Oh, yeah.
for, you're or part of it too. So it's
Yeah.
like there is a lot of money out there that could be involved. There's lots of jobs out there, and then hell, we're just now getting started. The past
Oh,
like
we are.
5 to 10 years have been one of the biggest years in
Oh,
my opinion.
yeah, like I said, right when COVID was happening, like I said, right when it happened, I feel like it helped push more out than what it was. Yes, esports was around, but because of that, it brought a lot more gamers on because that's all they can do. And like I said, here we are now. I remember growing up, $100 tournaments, or 500. That was like, oh, that's a lot of money. Maybe 1,000. Now, like you said, there's million, and there's the world tournament, which almost has $1 billion. It's like Jesus Christ.
Exactly. And
So speaking of Madden, so did you might not have 2019 Arlington, Texas? They did their Madden Classic back. I was staff, I was main TO, but I remember his name was Henry. He was 15 years old. He got second place barely, and he won $45,000
that's
at
still
being 15. At being 15, I'm like, Jesus Christ,
that's still a hell of a lot. And
that's a
15
nice
years
paycheck.
old, that can go a long way. Just knowing
Oh,
Madden, because a lot of Madden can go to real field. That's how I've
yeah.
got all my knowledge, just from the real field experience.
Yeah, oh, big time. And that's the thing too. I haven't told him because he was upset. I was like, dude, the player that you almost beat, that you literally broke the bracket on. I said he's won so many tournaments. So for you to stand toe to toe, you should be even more happier than where you are right now, brother. I was like, second place does suck, but hey, look what you did. And even his
Mhm.
mom was next to me. She's like, he's right, honey. He's like, cheer up. And he's like, you're right. And he went over there, shook the dude's hand, said, hey, thanks. And the dude, he was like, dude, you're the hardest competition I've ever had in my life. You know?
Yeah, and one thing I don't like about Madden tournaments, it's always Ultimate Team. It's always Ultimate Team, and Ultimate Teams always pay to win.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Ours, nope. You got to pick one of the original teams. You can't pick any of that bullshit. We ain't got enough time for that.
I got to
So
come to
we-
one of your tournaments then. Next
like-
Madden
like I said,
tournament, I got to be
yeah.
there.
That's fine. Yeah. If you want to double stack Dallas versus Dallas, that's great. But yeah, most people were picking, like you said, Kansas City versus Green Bay or whatever. But yeah, you got to stick with the original teams. No extra bullshit in between.
I usually always pick my favorite team. I always think like you should play as your favorite team. You know the players, you know who's good, you know who's bad, and like hell, I'd be in a tournament. People's running as the Jets, but they can cook your ass, and like you're thinking
Right.
like this was like a year or two ago, and they're like 71 overall Jets, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a cake, and then you get in the game, and they got Zach Wilson throwing dimes on you like no tomorrow. I'm just like, dude, where the hell is this coming from?
Right. That's like with the new NCAA. Like I'm a Texas Longhorn. You can tell my buddy, he's a big Ohio State fan. So we first played that back and forth, and it was very close. But then we're like, all right, let's pick the two boo-booest teams that are on here. And I think he picked like Troy, and I think I was like ULM or something. University of Louisiana Monroe. They were both maybe 67, 68s, but for whatever reason, his guy sucked, and I scored like 42 points unanswered on his ass. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is just working. But then after that, like I said, we redid the Ohio State game, and whatever jet sweep bullshit, no matter what happens, my guys were just confused. I'm like, come on, guys, he's right fucking there.
Yeah, I just love it because no matter what I do, like I can do the best adjustments. I'm like, this is what's happening. They'll just do the opposite. Like
Yep.
I was a D lineman in high school, and they come across the line on a screen. I lose my shit. Like there's clips of me beating the shit out of my chair because I'm like, how the hell are you a D1 college football player and you're still rushing the quarterback on a screen?
Yup.
Drop back. I said, we learned this in what, elementary? If you're not
No shit,
touched,
right?
hold your ground.
Oh yeah, like whenever I played both sides. I was either a tight end, or like I said, if I was on defense, it was usually defensive end or like a middle linebacker, something like that. But same thing is, if you watch the quarterback's eyes. You don't watch what everything else is going on because you're going to tell where he's going to throw it to or if he's going to hand it off. You like you said, it's muscle memory. You learn shit, and if you get burnt on the same play over and over, you're clearly not learning shit. You know.
Oh yeah, and like one of my biggest things, like jumping into semi-pro, I moved to linebacker from
Nice.
line because I used to weigh 330 pounds. Now I'm 210, 220,
Oh yeah, you look
and
good, man.
I appreciate it. But like, uh, that's a whole new game feel. And like at first, I was like, I'm looking at the line, I'm like seeing if they're pass setting or they're running, and then I'm like I
Right.
look back in the backfield, and I've lost everything. I'm like, shit, I don't know where
Right.
everybody's at.
Right. You're used to doing this. Now you're like, oh fuck, where is everything?
I'm like, I know where I can read, I know what I can do, but like I'm not used to looking at the quarterback's eyes. I'm like, oh, there's fake,
Mhm.
and but I've started to learn, oh, that pass, and oh, this is a fake, and like I said, a lot of it's film. You can read a
It
lot off
is.
film, and
It is.
rather
What's
it's
really
any
funny.
game.
Yeah. Speaking of your film, like I said, I was whenever Texas took on OU. You know how it's always rivalry. People talk shit. I was throwing up some stats on there, and I was like, it's sad that your team in 1976. I know I went pretty far back. Texas was working on like some special, like really fast kick field goal, and OU Barry Switzer, he was actually spying on them the whole time, and it got into a big debacle about it over a field goal kick because he's like, we're gonna get the secret out. But yeah, that's just that reminds me of is watch film, or I mean, you know what happened last year with Michigan? They were watching everybody's stuff, kind of like the Patriots did with the Jets. It's gonna happen, but if you either learn or like you said, if you don't watch film, then if you get your ass kicked, it's your fault for not watching.
Yep, and that can go either way. When I was at
Mhm.
Oregoner, I pushed film. We had a day where we watched films and strictly,
Mhm.
and that's one of my biggest things. And like, I go into orgs and they're like, I'm like, do you watch film? Film? What are you talking about? VOD?
Mhm.
No, we don't watch
Mm-mm.
that. Bro, are you
Nope.
kidding me?
Yep.
I'm like, there's so
That's
much that can be learned.
oh
Strategies,
yeah.
new things. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. That's what I tell these high school coaches of ours. I'm like, look, I was like, record your games. No matter if you win, record your games because you're gonna want to learn who messed up, or even if you lose, all right, again, who messed up? Because if you don't rewatch where you failed at, you're not gonna learn any damn thing. You know?
Oh yeah, but who knows? But again, that was a lot of people can learn. A lot of people need to learn the hard way, and a lot of people learn the easy way. I mean, there's
You
just
need your
no in
ass kicked in
between.
life to learn. That's what you got. You get your ass kicked sometimes to learn how to do things properly the next time.
Oh yeah. But wrap this up. I appreciate having you on here.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's great to hear your story and your background, what you do. I love seeing what you do, and I always watch your Twitter posts and what you do. Ever since I seen a couple Madden things, that's how I found you, just looking at Madden posts because I was looking at new Madden tournaments and stuff, and
Nice.
that's actually how I found you was through Madden. But
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate having you on here. And is there anything you'd like to say before we hop off here?
Like I mentioned to you, if anybody's ever looking to learn more about esports or see what tournaments or even work behind the scenes, don't hesitate to reach out like you did. If you're on Facebook, you can literally type in my full name, Johnny Ryan Weaver. You'll find me on there. Twitter, it's IcyChiller54, and then Discord here is IcyChiller. So if you have any questions, whether you just want to learn something, you want to enter, or do your own, don't hesitate to reach out because I always want to help people grow in this atmosphere, no matter which direction it may be.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. They're scared to reach out there, and like I didn't know if you'd respond or not because like you have all your lands. I'm like he might be busy, and he might not have the time for the lands. But
Yeah,
but
I think I was laying in bed. I think it was like around 1 a.m. I think I was playing Rotato or something on here. I was
mhm.
like, oh, I got a DM. I was like, oh yeah, I'll reply to this guy in the morning. I even set a reminder, and that's why I was like, hey bro, what's up? And then here we are now.
Oh hell yeah! But I appreciate having you on. Everybody go check out this guy. Check out his events. If he's nearby, check him out. I mean, worst case scenario, if you don't even compete, just go check it out.
Yeah, just come shoot the shit. I'll hang out with you.
Hell yeah! And who knows, you might get some barbecue too.
Oh, you will. Trust me. I feed anybody that comes around me.
But like I said, I appreciate having you on. You guys know where to find me, Real Blue Star Gaming, on everything besides Twitter, because they think Real Blue Star Gaming is too long because they hate me. So it's underscore Real Blue Star underscore. You know where to find me on about everything. I stream every night about 9 p.m. Eastern time. So I appreciate having you on, man. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See
Yes,
you
sir.
guys.
Holler anytime. Bye, guys.